Good morning, this is NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. This morning, high pressure is in full control throughout the entire Northern Mid-Atlantic, with clear skies and generally very comfortable conditions. Winds are light, temperatures are a little bit cool, temperatures in the 40s and lower 50s, but overall not too bad for mid-October. I mean, really, it could be much worse. Now, there is an area of low pressure that is developing over the Tennessee River Valley, but this area of low pressure is a weakening upper level low that was once rather powerful over the plains, but because it's moving into what we call a convergent flow, it's weakening and is not going to be much of a threat. There could still be an isolated shower this afternoon over portions of southern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, but I really don't think it's going to be much of a threat. But because the atmosphere is so cold in the mid and upper levels, much like yesterday, an isolated shower could pop up at any time in the afternoon. They will be weak. It will be, very, very light, so it really won't have much of an impact. There is a very interesting disturbance, though, that is diving through the northern plains. Let's take a look at the water vapor, because we're going to get a lot more active as we head towards the end of the week. So here we have the water vapor satellite picture, and there's a couple of different features I want to point out here. First, let's drop down to the tropics. We have Hurricane Paula that is passing just to the west of Cuba. Now, Paula is going to fall under the influence of this subtropical jet stream that's moving through the Gulf Coast. And basically, it's going to take the moisture and Hurricane Paula from the Yucatan Peninsula to the northeast, basically moving over the Florida Keys of southern Florida and out into the Atlantic. I don't expect much of an impact from Paula, and in fact, with the strong shear, it should weaken the hurricane a great deal. Currently, it's a Category 2 hurricane with 100-mile-per-hour winds. Likely, by the time it moves through the Florida Keys and southern Florida, because of the strong shear and some influence from western Cuba, which is rather mountainous, I expect Paula to be a significantly weaker hurricane or possibly a tropical storm by later on this evening. So the good news is that Paula will be weakening as it's moving through southern Florida, but it will still produce very heavy rainfall and strong winds. It's not going to be pretty down there. As for us, well, let's take a look at Minnesota and Iowa and parts of the plains here. What I have circled here is a strong disturbance in the polar jet stream. Notice the polar jet stream is very amplified. It has troughs and ridges and another trough off the east coast. That trough off the east coast is very important. That trough is our 50-50 trough or low. It basically sets up our negative NAO pattern. That slows down any disturbance or low pressure system that is tracking through the Ohio Valley and isn't exactly able to move into New England very quickly. It kind of hits a roadblock. It has to detour. So what happens when these disturbances detour? Well, what happens is that they dive into the Ohio Valley, redevelop off the Mid-Atlantic coast, anywhere between North Carolina and Delaware. In this case, I think we're going to see a redevelopment around the Delaware coast, and then that low pressure system usually slowly, tracks up the east coast and towards New England. However, we're dealing with the La Nina pattern. What does that mean? It means we're going to have more disturbances from our very active polar jet stream moving into the west coast. So it basically shifts the whole pattern east a lot faster than normal. So as a result, our coastal storm is going to move a little bit faster. So let's take a look at the actual forecast I have in place. So we're zooming in here, and what I have the low pressure track that I'm expecting with the times. Thursday morning, this low pressure system, a rather robust low pressure system, is going to be moving through the Ohio Valley and redeveloping off the Delaware coast by Thursday evening. Thursday evening, we should see an expansion of a rain shield throughout much of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. This rain will be heavy at times on Thursday night, so be careful. And the winds are going to be increasing anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour, a little bit away from the coast, and along the coast, 15 to 30 miles per hour. If you have boating interest, get your boats in. There's also going to be some minor coastal flooding. It's going to be limited a little bit because this storm's going to move so fast. How fast is it going to move? Well, look by Friday morning. It's already moving through the central and eastern portions of Long Island. And that means that's great news for coastal flooding, because then the winds are coming from the northwest off the New Jersey coast and off portions of western Long Island, and New York City. So all the water is being pushed out into sea, and that means that our coastal flooding threat is going to be limited, but we're still going to have a potential for periods of heavy rain. Now, because of the speed of this storm, by Friday afternoon, many locations will be drying out. In fact, there is a potential, depending on the exact track of this low pressure system, that what's called a dry slot, an area of dry air that rides up to the east of the 700 millibar low with these low pressure systems, could move along the New Jersey coast into New York City, Long Island, and portions of Connecticut, which would cut short the rainfall. Right now, I think the areas that will have the heaviest rainfall will be the southern Hudson Valley through northwestern Connecticut, and also the immediate coast initially will also get a very heavy dose of rain. Area that will have the least rainfall, I think right now we should focus on eastern Pennsylvania and also eastern Long Island, because I think eastern Pennsylvania will have the least amount of lifting from this storm, and eastern Long Island and potentially even eastern Connecticut will fall under the heart of the dry slot that I'm expecting to develop. Overall, it's still a rather complicated storm, and there still could be some changes to the actual development of this storm, but this is clearly a very intense storm that's going to develop. So watch out for strong winds, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour away from the coast, along the coast 15 to 30 miles per hour with higher gusts. Look for heavy rainfall, and look for this storm to move very, very quickly. And one more bit of good news also is that once this low pressure system moves up into New England by Friday afternoon and evening, high pressure will take hold. It'll be breezy on Friday night and Saturday, but it will be dry. So if you have any outdoor plans or anything that you want to go outside and take care of, look at the leaves, whatever's left standing, this weekend's going to be perfect. It's going to be cool, but high pressure will be in control. Thank you for using NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.